The signal came from the dark side of the nebula, far beyond the normal patrol route. The crew of Rathuan Scout 9 had never seen anything like it. It was not a normal distress call, and it was not a natural space pulse. It was too strong, too sharp, and too steady, like something alive was breathing in the dark. Every few seconds, the signal grew stronger, then softer, then strong again, as if it was pulling something toward it. Captain Draxel stood in the center of the bridge, his 4 eyes fixed on the main screen. He was a calm leader, known for his sharp mind and steady voice, but today even he felt a strange pressure in his chest. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. The ship's sensor officer, Lyric, worked fast on the glowing panel. His hands trembled a little, and he kept checking the readings again and again, hoping they were wrong. But they were not. "It is moving toward us," Lyric finally said. His voice was low and heavy. Draxel did not reply at once. The room fell silent. The crew members looked at each other with worry. A moving signal this strong was not common. And when it came from inside a nebula, it was usually a sign of danger. "How fast?" the captain asked. Lyric swallowed. "Very slow, but in a straight line. No change in direction." Draxel's heart sank. Slow movement meant control. This was not a drifting object. Not a broken ship. Not a natural event. Something inside the nebula was coming for them. The ship shook slightly. It was not a hit, just a vibration, like the space around them was reacting to something huge. The navigation officer checked the controls and frowned. "Captain, space distortion is rising. Something big is creating a gravity ripple." Draxel stepped closer to the screen. All they could see was the dark fog of the nebula, twisting like smoke. But behind that smoke, a shadow, a very large shadow, was forming. "Full scan," the captain ordered. Lyric hesitated. "Sir, our scanners are acting strange. The signal is blocking half the system." "Do it anyway." Lyric launched the scan. For a moment, the lights on the ship flickered. The engines hummed loudly, and the screen glowed white. Then the results came in, but they made no sense. Mass reading, unknown. Energy reading, unknown. Heat signature, none. "Captain, this thing is completely cold." The crew froze. A cold ship was impossible. No engine, no life support, no reactor, no weapon system could stay cold. Not even dead ships were cold. Radiation alone gave some warmth. "Is it a ghost ship?" one pilot whispered. "No," Draxel said softly. "Ghost ships do not move." A loud beep cut through the silence. The shadow behind the nebula got bigger. Slowly, calmly, like it was not in a hurry. Like it had already decided what would happen next. Then, without warning, the nebula fog shifted. A soft wind-like motion pushed the smoke aside, and for just 2 seconds, a brief, terrifying moment, the crew saw it. A giant metal shape. Long, thick, heavy, black like the deepest night. Sharp edges. No glowing engines. No lights. No sound. It looked dead, yet it moved with purpose. Lyric gasped. It's a ship." Draxel felt his throat tighten. "No. It's a battleship." The alien crew had never seen human ships before, but something about this design was unmistakable. It was built for war. Built to destroy. Built to survive anything. "What species builds a ship with no heat?" one officer whispered. "A species that wants to hide," Draxel replied. "A species that wants to hunt." The nebula fog closed again, hiding the massive shape. But everyone on the bridge knew it was still there. Watching. Waiting. The ship's heartbeat-like signal grew louder. The sound filled the bridge speakers, slow and steady. Boom, 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 like a giant heart made of steel. The crew members covered their ears. "It is scanning us," Lyric said. "But it is not using normal scanners. I cannot detect the type." Can it read our systems? Yes. All of them. Draxel felt a chill run through him. If the unknown ship could read their systems so easily, then it was far more advanced than anything the Rathuan Empire had ever built. Suddenly the power dimmed on the Scout 9. Warning lights flashed. The engines dropped to half strength. Is it attacking? The captain asked. No, it is just looking at us, Lyric replied. Just looking, and still their ship was breaking under the pressure. What would happen if it actually attacked? The shadow shifted again. This time it moved to the side, quiet and smooth, like a predator circling its prey. Draxel made his decision. Back away. Slow. No sudden moves. The navigation officer nodded and gently pulled the controls. The Scout 9 drifted backward, engines humming softly. But then, something strange happened. The massive shape inside the fog moved with them. It matched their speed. It matched their direction. It matched their retreat. Lyric's voice shook. Captain, it is following us. The bridge fell silent again. Cold silence. Heavy silence. Draxel looked at the screen, trying to understand. Why follow? Why watch? Why appear now? Then, suddenly, all scanners went black. The entire system shut down at once. And a single line of text appeared on their main screen. 3 simple words. We see you. The crew stared in horror. The fog behind them lit up for a brief second, revealing the giant ship again. Captain Draxel understood one thing clearly in that moment. This was their first encounter with humans. And humans were not here to talk. They were here to judge. The Rathuan crew could barely breathe as the human battleship stayed just beyond the edge of the nebula. Its dark shape loomed over the stars, silent and still, like a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. The words on the screen, "We see you," echoed in their minds. No alarms, no lights, no warnings, just the quiet certainty of power. Lyric tried to reactivate the scanners, fingers flying over the glowing panels. Every time he thought he had a reading, the sensors failed again. The more they tried, the more the ship seemed to resist. It was as if the human battleship knew exactly what they were doing, anticipating every move. Captain Draxel's 4 eyes narrowed. Prepare defensive systems, he ordered, his voice steady, though his heart raced. Shields up. Weapons ready. But do not fire unless absolutely necessary. We cannot afford a mistake. The alien crew obeyed quickly. Energy shields hummed into place, armor plating shifted, and the small defensive drones on the Scout 9 activated. But even with all systems ready, the presence of the human battleship made them feel tiny, almost fragile. Then the ship moved. Not fast, not like a desperate attack, but smoothly, almost lazily, it closed the distance. Every alien on the bridge felt a shiver pass through them. The Rathuan ship's instruments reported nothing unusual. No heat, no radiation, no engine output, but the battleship moved as though space itself bent around it. Lyric swallowed. Captain, it's coming closer. Its power. I cannot describe it. Our sensors fail every second. This is unlike anything we have ever faced. Draxel nodded, keeping his voice calm for the crew. Keep your focus. Observe. Learn. And remember, you are alive because we have not angered it yet. The human battleship stopped suddenly. It did not orbit, it did not float. It just hovered, enormous and silent, 3 small lights glowing faintly at the front. The crew of Rathuan Scout 9 stared at them, unable to understand. These lights were not like their own ships. They did not shine. They did not signal. They radiated power, a force that pressed against the sensors and the minds of anyone nearby. Suddenly, one of the lights pulsed. Just once. A small, controlled burst of energy that raced toward the nearest asteroid. In an instant, the asteroid disintegrated, sending glowing fragments in every direction. The Rathuan crew gasped. They realized immediately, the human ship did not just have weapons. It had precision power capable of annihilating anything without warning. Lyric turned pale. If that had been aimed at us. His voice broke off. The thought was unbearable. Draxel clenched his claws around the edge of the console. We must communicate, he said firmly. Attempt contact. We cannot remain in this unknown state. If it attacks first, we are finished. The crew sent the first message, using their universal translation protocol. Peaceful tones, clear and polite. We mean no harm. Identify yourselves. No reply came. Seconds stretched like hours. The human battleship remained perfectly still, its dark shape unmoving, its lights glowing faintly like the eyes of a giant animal in the shadows. Then, almost imperceptibly, the ship moved closer again, smooth, controlled, relentless. Lyric's hands trembled as he watched the approach. Captain, it's scanning us. I can feel it in my sensors. Our ship, our thoughts, even our strategy. It knows what we are thinking. Draxel's stomach sank. Prepare for all possibilities. This is not a normal encounter. We are not dealing with a regular civilization. Keep shields up. Keep weapons ready. But remain calm. The human battleship paused again, 3 lights pulsing softly. And then, for the first time, the Rathuan crew heard it. Not a sound in their ears, but a presence in their minds. A quiet, commanding thought, almost like a whisper. Identify. Or leave. The words sent a shiver through the crew. They realized that this human battleship was not just powerful, it was intelligent in ways they could not measure. It did not speak with words or weapons. It spoke with presence. It spoke with certainty. Draxel took a deep breath. Prepare a reply. But we must be cautious. Show peaceful intent, and pray they understand. As Lyric transmitted the message, the alien crew stared at the massive silhouette of the human ship. Every officer felt the weight of something greater than themselves, greater than any technology they had seen. For the first time, they understood fear, not the fear of death, not the fear of a battle lost, but the fear of meeting a species that could decide their fate in silence, that could end their existence with a calm pulse of energy. And in that quiet, tense moment, the Rathuan crew knew something had changed. The human battleship was not just an enemy or an ally, it was a force unlike any they had encountered before. It was the beginning of a story they could not yet understand, a story that would redefine what they believed possible. The final thought in Draxel's mind as he stared at the 3 pulsing lights was chilling and clear. Humans do not fear. Humans do not hesitate. And we are in their sights. The Rathuan crew held their breath as the human battleship stayed perfectly still, just beyond the nebula's edge. Its 3 glowing lights pulsed faintly, like eyes measuring every movement of the Scout 9. The alien officers tried to maintain control, but every second the ship lingered, the pressure of its presence grew heavier. Captain Draxel spoke softly, but firmly. Keep calm. We need to understand what they want before we act. Lyric's claws tapped rapidly on the console. Sir, I have tried multiple scans. Every system we have is blocked. It is as if their ship exists outside normal physics. Nothing can detect it properly. The bridge fell silent. The crew could not imagine a ship that strong, so intelligent, that it could hide from their sensors while still watching them. Every instinct screamed danger. Then the Rathuan sent a second message, carefully coded. Peaceful words, with diplomatic tones. We are explorers, not invaders. Please identify yourself and your intentions. Seconds passed. Then, almost immediately, the human battleship moved. It did not rush, it did not attack. Its slow approach was deliberate, confident, and terrifying. It matched their drift exactly, maintaining a constant distance, as if it was testing them. Lyric's voice trembled. It is following us. But its movement is not random. It knows our ship. It knows our path. Draxel swallowed. Prepare for contact. Bring all systems to readiness. But do not fire. We do not know its power. One wrong move could destroy us instantly. The human ship suddenly stopped. Its three lights pulsed once in a long, steady rhythm. The rhythm was not random. It felt deliberate, like a signal of control and focus. Then a line appeared on their main screen. Your species scanned human space. Explain. The Rathuan crew froze. Their secret patrol? Their careful exploration of a distant human sector? Somehow, this ship knew. It knew everything they had tried to hide. Draxel's claws tightened around the console. How could it know? That sector is off-limits. No human ship should have been able to detect us. It must have sensors, intelligence beyond anything we imagined, Lyric said quietly. Or it has been watching us for a long time. The crew looked at each other in silence. Fear mixed with awe. The humans were not merely powerful. They were aware. They could track and anticipate. Their technology, their strategy, everything was beyond the Rathuan Empire's understanding. Suddenly, the human ship released small drones. They moved in perfect formation, almost like living creatures, cutting silently through the void. One drone approached a distant asteroid and in a heartbeat sliced it apart. The energy used was precise, clean, unstoppable. The Rathuan crew realized, with sinking hearts, that these tiny machines could easily destroy their ship if ordered. Draxel's voice was low, almost a whisper. We cannot fight them. Not yet. Not like this. We must reason. The alien sent another message, careful, polite, pleading, we seek knowledge, not war. Please allow dialogue. There was no reply at first. The human ship remained still, a shadow of calm power. Then, without warning, the three lights pulsed in sequence, sending a wave through the Scout 9 sensors. The effect was subtle but overwhelming. The shields fluctuated, the weapons recalibrated themselves, and even the crew felt a pressure in their minds, a silent command that made hesitation feel dangerous. Lyric whispered, "It is testing us, testing our response, our patience, our fear." Draxel nodded. He knew one thing clearly: humans did not attack blindly. They did not panic. They calculated, observed, and then acted with complete certainty. And the Rathuan crew were caught in that quiet, unshakable judgment. Minutes passed. Each tick of the clock felt like an hour. Then the human battleship sent another simple, chilling message. Final warning. Leave human space. The weight of the words pressed on the bridge. It was not a threat. It was a statement. A fact. Humans were not asking. They were telling. Draxel's claws ached from gripping the console. All right, he said. Prepare to retreat. Slowly. Keep shields up. Observe everything. Do not make any mistakes. The Scout 9 began its slow withdrawal. The human battleship followed, silent, watching, but never attacking. Every move was precise, controlled, measured. The Rathuan crew could feel it watching, learning, deciding whether they were worth destroying, or letting go. As they moved away from the nebula, the captain whispered to himself, "Humans are unlike anything we imagined, not because of their weapons, but because of their will, their certainty. They do not hesitate. They do not fear. And we are in their domain now." The human battleship lingered for a final moment at the nebula's edge, three small lights pulsing faintly, before it slowly disappeared into the darkness of space, leaving a quiet, unsettling sense of power behind. The Rathuan crew, shaken and silent, knew one undeniable truth: the humans were not to be underestimated. The Rathuan crew tried to make sense of what they had just witnessed. The human battleship had not attacked, yet its presence alone had shaken them to the core. Every system on the Scout 9 had struggled under the invisible weight of the ship, and every officer felt the chill of fear. Captain Draxel took a deep breath, forcing himself to remain calm. "We must understand them," he said. "They are not like any species we have encountered. Observe everything, every movement, every action. We need to know how they think." Lyric nodded, still pale. "Sir, their technology, it is beyond anything we have ever seen. Their sensors, their weapons, even the way they move through space. It defies all logic. And yet, they did not fire. Not even once. Exactly, Draxel said. That is what makes them dangerous. They do not act rashly. They calculate. They wait. And when they act, it is final. The human battleship remained hidden just beyond the nebula, its silhouette barely visible, 3 faint lights pulsing steadily. The Rathuan crew had tried to scan it again, but every attempt failed. The readings were erratic, fluctuating, sometimes showing impossible energy levels, sometimes showing nothing at all. It was as if the ship existed in a different dimension, watching and interacting with their universe only when it chose to. Suddenly, the human ship moved again. Not toward them, not away, but sideways, maintaining the same distance as the Rathuan patrol. The crew felt a silent warning, a message without words. They were being observed, tested, and measured. "Sir, they know our systems inside out," Lyric whispered. "Every shield, every weapon, every sensor. They are reading us like an open map." Draxel's claws tightened. "They are not only powerful, they are intelligent. We cannot pretend otherwise. Any attempt to attack would be suicide. We must respond carefully." The Rathuan officers sent a carefully coded message, using their most advanced diplomatic protocols. "We are explorers, not invaders. We seek peaceful contact. Please respond." There was a long silence. Then the human battleship slowly deployed a small number of drones. They moved like living creatures, precise and silent, slicing through space as though it were water. One drone approached a distant asteroid and destroyed it with a single, clean shot. The Rathuan crew stared in disbelief. Even the smallest of the human devices could crush entire worlds. "They could destroy us in an instant," Lyric said, voice trembling. "And yet, they have not." Draxel nodded. "This is a test of patience, not strength. Observe them. Learn from them. We must survive this encounter and live to understand what we are dealing with." The human battleship suddenly sent another simple message. "You have entered human space. Leave immediately." The weight of the words was suffocating. This was not a request. It was a command. The Rathuan crew realized that humans did not negotiate in the way other species did. They did not debate or hesitate. They stated facts, and those facts were backed by absolute power. Draxel's voice was calm but firm. "Prepare to retreat. Slowly. Keep shields at maximum. Do not make any sudden moves. Observe everything. We may not get another chance to learn from this encounter." The Scout 9 began to move backward, careful not to provoke the human battleship. The massive ship followed, silent and calculating, maintaining the same distance as if ensuring the Rathuan crew understood the lesson without having to fire a single shot. The officers watched in awe and fear as the human ship slowly faded behind the nebula. Its 3 small lights pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat, leaving a lingering impression of quiet power and controlled fury. Every crew member on the Scout 9 felt the same thought. Humans were not just advanced, they were unstoppable when they chose to be. Draxel finally broke the silence. "Remember this moment," he said quietly. "It is not the weapons that make humans terrifying. It is their certainty, their control, and their will to act when necessary. We have met a force unlike any other. And we are lucky to leave this encounter alive." The crew nodded, still shaken. For the first time, they understood that humans were not just another species in the galaxy. Humans were something else entirely, something to respect, fear, and perhaps even admire. The Rathuan fleet's main command had received the distress call, though it was unlike any they had ever sent. 12 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and dozens of support ships jumped into the sector, racing toward the Scout 9. The news of the human battleship had spread quickly, and the Empire believed this was their chance to confront it, perhaps even destroy it. Captain Draxel's crew watched as the reinforcements appeared on the sensors. The fleet was strong, the largest assembly of Rathuan warships in this region for decades. Yet, despite the numbers, The fear in the officer's eyes was unmistakable. The human battleship had already proven itself beyond anything they could imagine. Lyric's voice was tight. "Sir, even with this fleet, we are still outmatched. Their technology, we cannot even measure it properly. We might be stepping into a trap." Draxel nodded grimly. "Orders are clear. We observe, support, and stay in formation. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. Our goal is to survive long enough to understand what we face." As the fleet moved closer, the human battleship remained still near the nebula, its 3 faint lights pulsing calmly. Then, without warning, it opened massive hangar doors. Hundreds of drones and small attack ships emerged, spreading silently across space. The Rathuan sensors immediately reported anomalies. Each drone was armed, each capable of immense destruction. The sheer number alone could overwhelm the fleet if the humans chose to attack. The human captain's message arrived almost instantly. "Final warning. Stand down or be destroyed." The Rathuan fleet commander hesitated, pride and fear battling inside him. He ordered the fleet into a defensive formation, but his movements were cautious. He knew in his heart that humans did not bluff. One miscalculation would cost every ship in seconds. Then, with horrifying precision, the human battleship fired. Not wildly, not with panic, but a single clean beam that struck the strongest alien cruiser. In an instant, the massive vessel was gone, reduced to nothing more than fragments drifting in space. The Rathuan officers could only stare in stunned silence. This cannot be real," one officer whispered. One single shot destroyed a cruiser." Draxel's claws tightened on the console. "It is real. And it is us against them. The humans do not play. They do not negotiate when power is on their side. And right now, we are at their mercy." The fleet tried to regroup, but the presence of the human ship and its drones made every command slow, every maneuver hesitant. Every officer could feel the weight of certainty pressing down. The humans were in control, and they knew it. The human battleship sent another message. "Leave human space. Do not return." The Rathuan commander realized there was no alternative. Resistance meant death. Survival meant retreat. One by one, the fleet disengaged, moving back into safe territory while the human drones and battleship remained silent observers. Draxel watched the retreat, a mixture of relief and awe filling him. The humans had not chased them, had not celebrated their victory. They had simply asserted their power, demonstrated their capability, and delivered a message that could never be ignored. The Rathuan crew began to understand a terrifying truth. Humans were not the strongest because of numbers or weapons. Humans were powerful because they acted with complete certainty, because they understood strategy in ways the Rathuan could not. As the alien fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, the human battleship remained near the nebula for a moment longer, 3 small lights pulsing steadily, before finally turning away. Its departure left a silence heavier than any sound, a silence filled with respect, fear, and an understanding that humanity was a force unlike any other. Captain Draxel finally exhaled. He knew the Empire would study every detail, every report, and every recording from this encounter. But deep inside, he also knew that no lesson could prepare them fully. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were relentless. And humans had already won, not through destruction, but through the sheer certainty of their presence. The Rathuan officers glanced at each other, faces pale, hearts heavy. They had survived, but they had learned a truth that would haunt them forever. The galaxy had changed, and humans were the new measure of power. The Rathuan fleet had barely begun its retreat when the human battleship made its next move. It did not chase, it did not fire indiscriminately. It simply remained in place, silent and colossal, like a guardian watching over its space. Its hangar doors remained open, drones hovering in formation, ready for a single command. The Rathuan officers could feel the invisible weight of control pressing on them. Captain Draxel's claws clenched the console. They do not need to attack. Their presence is enough. Lyric nodded, eyes wide. "Sir, They are teaching us something. Not just about their power, but about their patience, their discipline. Every movement is deliberate. Every silence has meaning. The alien fleet commander tried one last maneuver, an attempt to test the humans' limits. He ordered a small squadron of destroyers to swing around, close to the human battleship, hoping to provoke a reaction. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, almost imperceptibly, the hangar doors of the HSS Vengeance opened wider. Hundreds of drones launched at once, spreading like a dark cloud across space. Each one moved with precise coordination, forming a pattern around the alien ships, hemming them in without actually striking. The Rathuan squadron froze, realizing that even a minor mistake could trigger destruction in seconds. Draxel realized the lesson clearly. This is what humans do. They show their strength, not recklessly, but enough to make you understand your place. They do not need to destroy everyone to win. The human captain's message arrived in a calm, almost cold tone. Final warning. Stand down or face consequences. There was no threat in the words. Just a statement of fact, delivered with absolute certainty. The Rathuan officers understood that ignoring it would mean annihilation. One destroyer pilot muttered, "Even with our numbers, we cannot fight them." "Not like this." Draxel nodded. "Numbers do not matter. Strategy does. And humans, their strategy is perfect." The Rathuan fleet began to retreat in earnest. Ships moved carefully, engines throttled down to avoid any sudden shifts. The HSS Vengeance followed, keeping them in view, but never striking. Every crew member aboard the Scout 9 felt the weight of the humans' silent judgment, the unspoken message, "Leave now and live. Resist and die." As the alien fleet moved away, Draxel watched the massive ship in awe. Its size, its silence, its power, it was unlike anything in Rathuan records. And yet, it was not reckless. It had not fired unnecessarily. It had not chased them beyond reason. It had simply demonstrated control, precision, and authority. The crew of the Scout 9 realized a fundamental truth. Humans were not dangerous just because of their weapons. They were dangerous because they understood power, and they used it with perfect judgment. A single human battleship could control an entire fleet without firing a shot. Draxel finally spoke, voice low and reverent. "Humans do not fight for pride. They fight to survive and protect. And when necessary, they end conflicts in a single decisive move." The alien ships disappeared slowly into the distance, leaving the human battleship behind near the nebula. Its three lights pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat in the void, a reminder of the power that had stopped an entire fleet. The Rathuan officers knew they had witnessed something extraordinary. The humans had not celebrated, had not boasted. They had merely existed as a statement of fact. Humans were not to be underestimated. Humans were not to be challenged. Humans were a force that demanded respect, even fear. Captain Draxel turned to his crew, voice firm but quiet. "Report everything. Every sensor reading, every action, every pattern. The Empire must know the truth. Humans are not just another species. They are something entirely different." And as the Scout 9 and its fleet vanished from human space, the last thought that echoed through Draxel's mind was unmistakable. They had survived, but the galaxy had changed forever. Humans were now the measure of power, and nothing would ever be the same. The Rathuan fleet continued its retreat, engines humming steadily, yet the fear and awe in the officers' hearts did not fade. The HSS Vengeance remained near the nebula, its three faint lights pulsing calmly, watching every movement without haste. It did not chase, it did not strike. It simply existed as a silent reminder of what humans could do, and what happened when they chose to act. Captain Draxel's claws rested lightly on the console, but his mind was tense. "They are not gone yet," he said quietly. "Even if they do not follow, the lesson is clear. Humans are not like any other species we have faced." Lyric glanced at the massive silhouette still visible through the edge of the nebula. "They are not just powerful, they are precise, disciplined, and deliberate. They could destroy us all in moments, but they choose to control the outcome instead. The human battleship's hangar doors slowly closed, drones retracting silently back into the massive hull. There was no celebration, no display of dominance, no noise. Only presence. Every Rathuan officer felt the weight of that presence like a physical force, pressing into their minds, reminding them that humans were not to be tested lightly. Then, a final message appeared on the screen. Leave human space. Do not return. It was simple, clear, absolute. There was no debate, no discussion, no negotiation. It was the rule, and the rule was enforced by the reality of human power. The Rathuan fleet understood instantly. Resistance meant certain destruction. Compliance meant survival. One pilot muttered, "Even their warnings feel like orders from the gods." Draxel nodded grimly. They are not gods. They are humans. But humans have perfected certainty and control in a way no other species has. We have seen their strength, and we will never forget it. As the alien ships moved further from human territory, every crew member carried the weight of what had happened. The humans had not needed to fire more than a single beam. They had not chased relentlessly, yet they had proven dominance. Their presence alone was enough to change the behavior of an entire fleet. The Scout 9 turned toward home space, the lights of distant stars stretching ahead. Draxel looked once more at the faint outline of the human battleship disappearing behind the nebula. Its three small lights blinked like a quiet heartbeat, leaving behind a memory that would never fade. He spoke softly, almost to himself. Humans are not powerful because of numbers or technology alone. They are powerful because they never hesitate when action is necessary. They decide and they act. That is their strength. Lyric shivered. We have seen the beginning of something. Something larger than us, larger than the Empire itself. Draxel's voice was steady, carrying both respect and the cold reality of fear. Yes. This encounter is only the first chapter. We survived, but the galaxy has changed. Humans are now the measure of power. And every species that meets them will remember this day. As the Rathuan fleet vanished into deep space, the HSS Vengeance turned silently, drifting back into the void, leaving only a lingering shadow of controlled fear. The humans did not celebrate. They did not boast. They simply returned to their patrol, a silent sentinel of power, patience, and inevitability. And in the darkness of the nebula, the last thought in Draxel's mind was chilling yet undeniable. Humans are not just a species to fear, they are a force that defines the rules of survival itself. The galaxy would never be the same again.